welcome to Morning Coach today. I am so glad you're with us. Hey, it's JB. Super pumped you're here, ready to go. It is September 16th, 2024. It is a Monday. Love Mondays. Organizational day. If you're with us, this is when we get the week started, right? Episode 5,456. Yep, that's right. We're rocking it. 5,456. We're killing it. I love it. And we got a great week. I mean, it is going to be a great week. Let's set that intention as we start to move forward. And if you're new with me, welcome. I'm glad you're here. If you've been with me for going on 20 years, welcome. I'm glad you're here. You know, this is a place to get your day started right with energy. It really is. And we're going to get organized, get energetic and ready to go. And of course, you know, we're doing our metaphysical morning ritual. What does that mean? Take time for self-care. Let's get that in. Listen to the CoachCast. Make sure you're here. Pat yourself on the back. Get those 7 P's in order. Have the right perspective. Set the right priorities. Focus on improved performance. Have patience. Keep great posture, stay present, and persist. Really important. And then organize the day with your planner. We've got some news on that, so that's important. We're going to talk about in a minute. And those of you that are taking the next step, working with the companion, take a picture, send it in, and of course, stop by the community for accountability, questions, and support. As always, just a wonderful group of people here at MorningCoach.com. So excited today. We got a big week planned. We're going to be doing mindfulness this week, really getting into this, discussing what it is today, what are some tips to it, and why it's so important. Of course, getting into our book study tomorrow, The Second Mountain Part 3, really great book. A little bit of controversy in this next section because we're going to talk about the moral conditions with marriage. So it's an interesting book, The Second Mountain, The Quest for a Moral Life with David Brooks. So we'll be spending some time on that tomorrow. Wednesday, I got a good one for you. Getting yourself into the moment. Obviously, our number 6P is stay present. Why is that important? What does that have to do with anything? We're going to talk on Thursday, we've got Ask JB, and we're going to talk about the consistency area and the Sacred Six and the differences between those two. We're going to step back to some fundamental work, get some questions on that. And a few people have asked me for some samples, some examples, so we're going to do that. Friday, we got It's About Your Numbers, having ILD mindfulness. What does that mean? We'll tune in Friday. We'll get that to you. And then, of course, Dr. Paul on Saturday with some great health ideas and thoughts. And then we're back to me on Sunday, and we're talking about great energy on the daily basis, like having energy on the daily basis. So really a great one going on. A lot of things happen up in the community. We are in a due month, for those of you with the plan, right? Still in a due month. We're not checking anything yet. And then the meetups are just off the charts. You get a chance to meet some really great people, go up in the community, hit the meetups. There's all kinds of meetups going on. You'll find them up there. We've got all different things happening. You want to do that. And then in the circle area for planner feedback, we're putting up some samples. Let's dial in this 2025 planner together so that you have the perfect planner for next year. So we're getting that ready to go. We got to have that ready in the next few weeks. So make sure you get some input to us. And then as we get into October, we want to have that planner out. And this would be the specific basic one. And then we can talk about some of the modular stuff that we're doing. So exciting. A lot of good things going on. Get on this train. Get on the Morning Coach train. Take the energy, use it. And really, it's really about momentum, right? And maybe you don't have it today, but you can borrow some of mine. And when you borrow mine, then you borrow some of my energy. And it's just like we talk about metaphysically is borrowing the belief. If you're not there yet, sometimes you got to borrow the belief from somebody that's already been there. And that's where mentorship and coaches come in, and you can borrow that belief, right? So let's get into today. Which has to do with that a little bit. And then it's this idea of mindfulness. Now, we talk a lot about emotional intelligence here at Morning Coach because really it is one of those systems. And you can see that all the research that's been done, that people with a higher emotional IQ, or EQ, I should say, is what they call it, make more money than people that don't have it. And it's the great thing about emotional intelligence is we can learn it. We can get better. It's like a skill. So as you come here and you learn, you're going to get better at your emotional intelligence, which includes your awareness, which is a big part of what Morning Coach is. If we don't know why we're doing what we're doing, why we're feeling the way we're feeling, then it's really hard to solve the issue. When we look at problem solving, just at a general problem solving, if we were in an MBA course right now and we were having a course on problem solving, the main thing that we would discuss is getting to the root of the problem. Many people solve problems and they're not solving the root of the problem. They're not solving why the problem is occurring. And so in order to understand this, we have to be aware. We have to be aware of why things are happening in our life, what's going on in our lives, and make changes according to our plan so that we can live our best life. That's what this system is. It's why I'm with you every day, why we're here every day, and why the structure is based on this. Life is complex enough, and it's amazing how many people are out there doing it without a plan, without the support, without help. You wonder why, so many people are over-medicated or self-medicated, because it's just they don't have a plan. Nobody teaches this stuff, but we do. And that's why you're here. And we start off with this foundational piece of, should I focus on mindfulness? Well, what is mindfulness anyways? Well, mindfulness is this idea that you pay attention in the moment, to the moment, right? Without judgment. So in my first book, I called it the observer state. If you think about observing, it kind of means you're observing. You're not judging anything. You're paying attention to the current moment. Now, as we get into the idea of psychological time, we realize the past has occurred, but it's not real. It's the perception of the past. It's the memory trace that you have. If me and you went to the museum together last night and we looked at art, your experience would be different than mine. Your past would be different than mine. Yes, it did occur, but it's really just electricity in the mind and the way that we perceive it, right? So the past is there, but it's manipulative. Like you could change your past just by changing the way you think about it. And they always say history's written by the conquerors, right? Because it's gone. It's not there anymore. And now all of a sudden, the way you think about it and the way you utilize it is what is in your mind. And then when it comes to the future, that hasn't occurred yet. Will it happen? Yes, but it'll be the continuum of the now. These are deep concepts, but if you really step back, they make sense, right? So the future hasn't happened yet. Oh my gosh, I got bills to pay. So I'm going to get all worried about those bills. Well, if I don't take action now, then when that does happen, you're going to have problems. But if you take action now and you solve the problem, it was never a problem, right? So that's one of the interesting things about life, and where so many people get caught up is they get so far ahead of themselves that they don't realize that if they would just take action now, a lot of that stuff wouldn't happen. And we live in our brains, like we live in our minds instead of living in the moment. Or we live on phones, right? Or cell phones. Go to a concert and everybody's videoing. And I'm guilty of this too. I like to video music once in a while. But, everybody's watching the music through their phone, like videoing it. Man, they could have just stayed home and watched it on YouTube, right? So the idea is to get away from the mind, get away from the phone, right? And become mindful and become present. Because this is where the power is, in the moment. And that's where you can be mindful. And mindful is like engaging in the moment without judgment. So you're just observing. And there's a lot of strength to that. There's a ton of strength to that. So a lot of my CEOs and coaching clients that are dealing with issues in business, they're having maybe frustration. They've been with the business for a long time. Heck, maybe you are, right? Maybe your job is not satisfying. Maybe you've been in work for a while. And one of the things I'll say is, well, what I want you to do is leave. Like, take the weekend. Now, it's obviously Monday, so we can't do that today. But typically, I like to do this activity on the weekend. And I want you to go away and not even think about it. And then Monday morning, when you come in, I want you to feel like it's the first day you've ever been there. And just that psychological trick of coming in fresh can change everything. Getting in the moment, understanding what's going on, observing what's happening can change everything. So we want to pay attention in the moment. We want to be present. We want to be there. Just like I always tell you, like when you're in your relationship, you want to be there. We're going to talk about marriage tomorrow with the second mountain. But when you're with somebody, be there, be present, be in the moment. And so many people aren't. And you can just see that. Go to any restaurant, right? People are sitting at the same table. They're on Facebook. They're on their phone or whatever they're doing, but they're not present. They're not in the moment. And so one of the secrets of life is focusing on mindfulness. So how do we do that? Well, here's 6 tips that you can take away today as action items that you can use to become more mindful. The first one of those is mindful eating. I love this, or we call it soulful eating. And Maureen Whitehouse introduced this to me years ago. I think she wrote a book called Spiritual Eating. And Maureen and I became pretty good friends. She's working at Harvard right now as a professor doing some things, but just a wonderful, soulful, energetic person. Right? So, and you know me, I'm hardline business, but I have this really fun metaphysical side. Well, Maureen kind of has that too. And she really introduced me to this idea of eating from a spiritual capacity. So the idea is to eat and be mindful. Be thankful for the animal that gave its sacrifice for you to have energy. Be thankful for the vegetables that you're eating, the potato, whatever it is. Just have gratitude that you're eating. And it'll change the way you even your digestion will change. It's amazing how if you become a mindful eater, how things change. And it's really hard to be mindful when you're eating a McRib from McDonald's. Now, full disclosure, I absolutely love McRibs. I grew up, I don't even think they sell them anymore, but when I was a kid, that was like luxury to me. I get a McRib and I love that barbecue sauce. Now, I know it wasn't a real rib meat and it was, I don't know, processed something, but I just loved the McRib. It was my favorite sandwich, right? But it's hard to be spiritual and soulful about a McRib sandwich, even though it has that great barbecue sauce and that pickle on it. Man, that was so good as a kid. But I don't eat that stuff anymore. I mean, very rarely because it's not mindful. It's very hard to be spiritual as you're looking at a Big Mac and the special sauce, right? So mindful eating is extremely powerful, and it's one of those keystone habits that could change everything for you. So today, just be a little mindful when you sit down to eat. What are you putting in your body? And are you thankful and grateful of what you're consuming? Okay, that's one way. The other way you can do this is mindful moving. That means where you're walking or running. Tai Chi is meditation in motion. It's being more mindful of the way your body works. As a athlete now that is moving into professional running, which is just, it's hard for me even to spit that out, but since I started in April and now we're getting sponsorships and it looks like I am moving into that direction, possibly even running the Boston Marathon, not next year, but the following year. There's some qualification issues I have to do, and I'm not going to be able to get it done this year. But looking at that, it's like, when I'm out running, and again, this is something at the beginning of the year that I didn't even like. I said I would never run more than a 5K. Not thinking I would ever be like at that level of elite and professional. But I do love when I'm out running, like especially on our 80% of our zone 2, like very basic pace. Sundays are usually my long day. I just put the music on and run. I just love it because I can move mindfully. I can feel the way my body works. And one of the things is I'm getting better and my coaches are working with my running is the form, like the way you feel your body. It's almost like swimming for me. I always think I'm swimming. I'm like kicking my heels up and it gives me a little more speed. I'm working on my cadence. And so I feel like I'm swimming and I just feel my body. So you can do mindful moving. Walking or running is a really good way to connect to something more mindful. Another thing you can do is a body scan. Now, a body scan is to feel different parts of your body and bring them to your awareness. Now, I learned this from Neil Singleton in Taekwondo years ago. And he used to do a meditation. Neil Singleton was this awesome kickboxer from Gary, Indiana. I mean, a real bad dude, right? And he would have us all lay down. And I was 8 years old, 10 years old, I don't remember. And he'd have us all lay down. And he'd say, okay, now I want you to feel your toes. And now I want you to feel your feet. I want you to feel the shin. And he would take us through each part of the body. And you're just really mindful of each part of the body. It's such a great little technique for meditation. And you do a body scan is a really great way to be mindful. And you can do it any time. Like you'd be sitting at your desk and go, okay, let me feel my fingers. Okay, let me feel my watch. Let me feel things that are on my body. And anytime you do that, it brings you in the moment. I remember Eckhart Tolle Eckhart Tolle in The Power, and now I'm talking about just a pin on the desk. Like looking at the pin of the desk and looking at all the intricate details of it. Really becoming present into that moment. It was pretty cool. I love that. So body scan and getting in the moment can really help you become more present. A couple other things you can do is mindful coloring or drawing. I know Karen loves this. She's got an iPad, and that's her big thing. But there's a lot of adult coloring books now and mindfulness coloring. Now, I don't do this. This was a tip I don't do. Typically, I don't give tips I don't do. But I know it does work for a lot of people. I don't have the patience, but I think if you do, that is pretty cool. Okay? And then, of course, we're going to end this on this, is that today you've got 6 things. You can do mindful eating, mindful moving or walking or running, a body scan, mindful coloring or drawing, or mindful meditation. And I absolutely love meditation, quieting the mind, getting yourself in a position where you can be in silence and be able to just engage the moment, because that is where the power is. And depending on what your belief system is, they say silence is the voice of God. So whatever your belief system is, silence is the voice, universe, silence is the inner child, whatever. But that silence is the power. The silence is the note. Like what makes music is the silence. It's the time between the notes that's so powerful. So meditation. Meditation's quieting the mind. You don't have to put a moo-moo on, and you don't have to cross your legs. Just slow your mind down. Quiet your mind down, okay? And all of a sudden, you can connect to something deeper, and you can become totally present. So that's what I want you to focus on today. Let's become present. Let's be a little more mindful. Let's create that awareness that allows us to live our best life. I love you so much. Go have a great day, and I'll be back with a book study right here tomorrow on morningcoach.com. Go enjoy your day.